Hey, what's going on, guys? Time to take a look at another set of Gundam Converge figures, and if you're noticing, this box is a little bit different shaped than normal, and we also don't have pictures of the figures here on the outside of the box. This is a Converge Plus set, so the Plus Set 04 here. The Plus set is basically a smaller set in terms of the number of figures included, and they're typically larger in size. So they're not the ones that typically fit into like the standard size smaller box, so they'll be a little bit larger mobile suits, but I guess not quite large enough, or maybe not quite popular enough to make into like an Converge EX figure, which I don't think they've had any Converge EX figures for quite a while now, it seems like, I don't know. But included with this set, we have the Gundam Avalanche Exia, we've got the Gundam GP02A, we've got the Tytania, and of course, one of my favorite mobile suits of all time, the Rozen Zulu, and then a option parts set. So this is an option parts set, which is going to provide a few different option parts for our different mobile suits included. We'll come back to that, but we're going to go in order here and start with the Avalanche Exia, another mobile suit which I really do quite like a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite versions of the Exia. So here for the artwork on the front, we just have a image of the figure there, and you can see it doesn't have the leg armor, and this is actually how I prefer it. Like I said, I like the Avalanche Exia. I'm not a big fan of like the leg equipment though, so this is how I like my Avalanche Exia. Here on the backside, you have a look at what we're going to have included here, and it looks like we have an elevated stand for this one, which probably means that we have option parts for the feet, whether you want to have the feet flat on the ground or if you want to have them up in the air. It's not usually a moving part, it's just a part that you can swap the feet, and this is with the leg equipment added on there, it looks like, and that's going to be from the option parts set. But here's a look at the others in the lineup, and basically the box is going to be very similar to a standard Converge box. This is a QR code with instructions, so scanning that will bring up a page like this where you can see in detail about how that's going to work. So that will give you instructions for all of the figures. So it's the same QR code, so not a different QR code for each one. The same QR code gives you the full instructions for this entire set there, which is pretty cool. Anyway, as I was saying, it's pretty much like your standard Converge figure here, just the box is a little bit larger, and we've just got a little bit more in the box, naturally. Inside, we are also going to have gum here, disgusting, and our contents. So looks like we've got the base plate, some sword weapons there, sword weapons, the V-fin there with a nice protective cardboard piece, our main figure here in the second bag, and that's pretty much it. Let me get this put together. All right, and here's how that's going to look all put together. All the pre-painting on there does look really quite nice. Could definitely benefit from some panel lining as usual, but you have some nice gunmetal there for the sword blades, also for the hands. But yeah, a lot of really great detail here on this one. The clear green parts also look nice. That's going to be there in the chest, in the side of the head, on the top of the head. That's just a metallic green. On the eyes is actually a clear blue for the clear blue eyes there, it looks like. And as far as the base goes, this is all that we have included with this one. So the arm to make this up in an elevated pose is not included with this set just as it is. So that's going to be something that I guess is going to be a part of the added parts set. But you can see what looks like a couple of removable parts right here on the side of the arm. And then I think like the back of the leg also has parts that you can remove. And anyway, you can see the pegs there on the base plate for the connection arm that we're going to use for having this elevated there later on. The weapons, of course, can be used, and as you can see, we have hands there that are holding hands. We don't have alternative hands included. For example, if you did want to just keep the weapons on the backpack, would have been nice if we just had some closed fists included. But for these two GN swords, you have the little bit shorter one and a little bit longer one. These ones you can just remove off the backpack, and you can have those held in the hand. But more importantly, this GN sword option here, you can have connected into the arm, and then you can use this as the kind of rifle weapon as it is, I guess, like that. Or you can flip around the sword. The sword does have some articulation to flip out there like that. And connected into the hand is going to look like that. And as I've talked about before, that these really aren't necessarily meant to be articulated, but usually the arms are at least able to rotate. So if you did want to have the arm extended up like that, and then maybe have this just looking like it's firing the weapon, something like that, you can do that. Or just having this, like I said, flipped around like so. It does look pretty cool there with the weapon in hand. And one thing that I almost didn't notice is that here for these GN ribbons that are kind of connecting from the backpack around into the waist section, those are in a really nice kind of metallic purple there. It's a nice little added detail. And so, all right, then moving on to the Gundam Cysalis, the GP02A here is gonna obviously be a pretty chunky one. As you can see, this is basically just going to have our big binders there on the shoulders, the shield, and the bazooka, and the beam saber. But I think these connection arms, again, like with the Exia, these connection arms are going to be a part of the part set and not included with just this box. And also the beam effect, I think, is also going to be a part of the part set. So basically what we're going to have in this box is what we can see there on the front of the box. To make it like that, you need the option set. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at our contents inside here. All right, once again, got 2 bags with the main Gundam itself there in one bag. Our second bag is going to include the base, shield, bazooka, connection part there, it looks like. And then the V-fin is protected here. And our awful gum. Okay, here's how it's gonna look. Very interesting indeed. I do like the color. It's in definitely less of like a tan color, like the kit's usually in more of like a tannish, light off-white tannish kind of color. This is definitely more of like a grayish color here for this one, but the details and everything looks good on this. A lot of times when you have mobile suits with kind of interesting or unique proportions, in Converge form they tend to look more cool. Although I gotta say, the unique proportions of the Gundam GP02's head, I'm not a huge fan of how these proportions look in Converge form, I gotta say, with it being extremely elongated and kind of like squeezed in the center, it looks like kind of odd looking. But anyway, you have the 02 there on the shoulder, which is not filled in with any paint or anything. So again, some panel lining on this, especially in like some of these little details here around on the vents, on the shield, for example, and on some of these gray areas. Detailing would look really nice on this one here around on the backpack too. For example, these thruster bells are not in a kind of gunmetal color, which would have been nice there to kind of match. And I will say, these clear bases don't really hold the figures as tightly as the usual black ones do. Not really a fan of that. But here on the bottom of the feet, I'd just like to show you guys every so often that you do have full detail up underneath the feet, which is very cool. And overall, a really nice looking figure here. Without that base though, as usual, the shield causes problems in that it can't stand up. Let me just show you guys here. So if I don't have the foot plugged onto the peg there and just try to just stand this up, the shield is probably going to make it to fall forward a little bit there maybe, and you can only really adjust the angle of the shield by just rotating the entire arm. So the wrist is fixed in how that's kind of held onto the handle and holding the shield there. So you could kind of rotate the shield a little bit to the side like that. Otherwise you can raise up the entire arm like so, and the same for the bazooka too. You can raise up the entire arm. Now the angle of the binders is just fixed onto the arm, so if whatever you turn the arm, the binder is going to turn too. But these ones here on the back can be rotated, and then these ones here on the ends are also going to be moved once we get the extra parts set out. But anyway, there's the GP02. Let's go ahead and move on then to the Tytania, which is a mobile suit which I wasn't really very familiar with, but apparently this is from an SDG Generations game, and it's developed from the Palace Athene and the O, which is very interesting. It's a pretty cool looking mobile armor here. I guess mobile suit, but it's sort of like quasi-mobile armor, I guess, just because it does look to be one of the larger variety. Here you can see, very similar to the O, it has a ton of beam sabers, 6 it looks like to be precise, so that's definitely going to be some parts that are going to be included with the part set, so we'll see that form later. For now, it basically just has this big rifle, very similar to the rifle used by the O, it looks like, and a pretty cool, pretty interesting looking design there. Let's go ahead and pop the top, and I think we have a pretty good idea what to expect as far as the packaging for this one. And we've got, let's see, that terrible, terrible gum. We've got the main figure there, and another part looks like, I think that's for like on the chest. In this bag, we've got the base part, a couple of other parts there. I think that's shield, rifle, backpack, and not V-fin, antenna for the head, right? All right, and wow, I gotta say this one really cool design. Like I said, for a design that I was not really familiar with, it's one that I can definitely appreciate. It's really quite interesting and a ton of really great detail on here. So I want to take this one off the base It's again to show you not only the underside of the feet, but the underside of the back skirt, for example. A ton of detail in and around on these parts around here. The back skirt was actually kind of challenging to put on. I actually had to kind of shave down the connection peg a little bit to get that on there. It was kind of difficult. And here you can see where those extra arms holding the beam sabers are going to plug into the shoulders. Right there, we have a nice closed fist here for this hand. The face looks really nice with that metallic pink for the mono eye. The rifle, a really cool design, again, very similar to the O's rifle. And then some metallic purple up here for these bits there at the top of the antenna. Overall, really, really nice quality here for this one. Really cool design. It looks very good. Fantastic. So really cool. I like it a lot. But that brings us to the one I'm looking forward to the most here, the Rozen Zulu, which interestingly enough looks like it's not going to have the white lining on the shoulders, which is kind of disappointing, or around here on these parts. So definitely one that's going to benefit from a little bit more lining, painting on it to bring out some of those nice details there on the design that are unfortunately kind of missing, it looks like. But on the back, like we've seen with the others, the back is showing what you can make with the option part set, which looks like you can make the episode 7 version, which has the shield hand instead of the 2 claws with the shield there, so you can make that a little bit different. And then of course you have the wire system for the claws that we can make with that part set as well. So that'll be very cool. Looking forward to that, which actually, to be honest, the different parts sets for the Converge stuff is cool, but for me, as far as like a Converge collection, I mean, like all of my Converge collection is just in the box for the moment, but I mean, like ultimately, assuming that someday I'll have like a nice display to actually display all my Converge figures in, my plan is to just have them all like this anyway. I'm not gonna have them in like action poses or anything, so some of the different option sets, that include parts like that allow you to have them in sort of like different poses and things. It's not really for me, but it's cool to have them included. So there's our shield and base plate, and in here we actually have some bubble wrap for this part even. It looks like, what is that for? Just to kind of help fill the space in the box, I guess, really, because here we have the backpack and the main body, and that's it. And here is the Rozen Zulu assembled. So some cool aspects. I do not like the fact that a lot of the detail painting, especially the white lining around here on the mobile suit, is missing. That's unfortunate, but some kind of cool parts here. That little clear part in the packaging is of course a little adapter, because with our teeny tiny high heels there, we need that adapter piece to actually get this to stand on the base, it would seem. And even so, it seems a bit precarious, so at least while I'm handling it, I'm gonna leave it off the base at the moment. But the lining here on the chest looks really good, and the mono eye can turn. If you just use a small tool here, you can actually rotate that mono eye. If you wanted to have this like looking off to the side, something like that can be kind of cool. Of course, we have articulation in the arms, which for this particular figure I think would make a lot of sense for having it in poses like that or something like that. Also, these parts of the backpack can move slightly up and down here like so. Backpack looks nice and everything looks good on here. That metallic orangish gold on there looks really nice for some nice accents, and of course the white accents look good too. But overall, really nice looking figure here. Again, some detail painting of some white lining, and some of that orangish gold should be here, I think, for those parts there around the knee as well. So a little bit more painting work, detail work on this would definitely make it look that much better. Overall, though, it does look really quite nice. And that brings us lastly to the option part set. So here on the front, you can see kind of all of the contents inside, which there is quite a lot. The arms and the stands for the Rozen Zulu, all the beam sabers for the Tytania, parts for the GP02, option parts for going inside the binders, the option arm and hand and beam saber there. And then for the Exia, the leg option parts and an additional shield, it looks like, and an additional stand parts for basically everything included. Around on the back of the box, once again, shows all the different stuff that you can make with the main figures and these included option parts. So for our 5th and final box of the set, let's pull everything out of here, and this one's going to be jam-packed with a ton of stuff in there, including this so awful, terrible chewing gum. Yeah, okay, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here, and everything doesn't really necessarily seem to be in any particular order or packaged together. So let me go ahead and get everything out here and we'll take a look. So starting off with our option set here for the Avalanche Exia, what we've added is the shield part, which actually attaches there onto the back skirt, and then swapped out the legs. Now there's something more that you can do with these. If you didn't want to have this on a stand, you just wanted to have it standing, you can swap the feet. So actually we just ended up swapping the entirety of the legs, but you can swap those feet if you wanted to have it standing. Otherwise these feet are set at a little bit more of an angle so that it can be elevated, which is how I'm going to keep it like this, but you can do that. The other thing that you can do is with these leg parts, you can actually take off this part here and move this around to the bottom side of the foot like that. Then we have to take our other legs, pop this little part off of the back here and onto these legs there, and there we've got basically this equipment now with the part there on the actual foot like that. So like I said, just personally, I'm more of a fan of the added armor and equipment of the Avalanche Exia up here on the top half, not so much these leg armor added equipment parts down here, but you do have those as an added option. So there we go, with both of those attached, it's going to look like this, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it definitely gives you the full effect of the Avalanche Exia with kind of everything on there, and you could take another one of these swords and put it down in the other hand. Again, like I said, for example, so that's very cool. Now for the GP02, first of all, we're gonna have to take off the shield, take off actually the entirety of this arm here. For the right arm, we're just going to swap that one out with this new arm, which is holding the beam saber with the really nice looking beam saber effect part on there. That's going to plug right back up onto there. Actually, we won't plug that back onto there yet because we need to swap this piece on the inside of the binder. So we can basically take off this thruster bell, take off this dark piece from the inside of here. This will come out, and that's what we're going to exchange for this differently shaped one, but also this thruster belt inside of there also needs to come out. So let's go ahead and pop this out here too. So we're going to actually put this piece back on inside of there like that, pop this into there, and then this third thruster can be put back on here at an angle. Rather than being like that, it'll be straight down, and then that back one can be rotated down. Plug this onto our new arm there, and then this also sets it at instead of being like straight out, it's also a little bit back. The angle of that will go onto there like so for our open binder like that. The bazooka we're going to actually separate into two parts, and this part can be stored inside the back of the shield. So that fits into the back of there just like that. The other part of the bazooka with a new connection piece plugs then onto the back of the arm on the back of this shoulder part right here. And there we have the full set there put together like that. And now you do also have these support pieces, which are meant to go under here. They seem kind of unnecessary, so I'm just going to try it without these, and I don't really think that you need to have those. I guess the weight of these parts could, I suppose in theory, maybe over time start to like bend down or something like that, although I don't really foresee that being too much of an issue. They don't weigh all that much. So there's how that's going to look with its option parts in place. Really cool look, especially that beam effect looks really nice, and the binders of course look so much more interesting and impressive all opened up like that, I think. So definitely a cool look here for our GP02. We've got the bazooka stored inside the shield there too, so everything looks good on that. Let's go ahead and move on then to the Tytania. So first of all, we're going to have a couple of option hands, as this hand, even though it's a holding hand for the rifle, it has the trigger finger extended and it's kind of made to hold the handle of the rifle. So we have a new holding hand for both the left and the right side to replace the closed fist over here on this side. Those are going to hold onto our beam sabers. And then we've got our 4 little sub arms that plug up into the shoulders there, there, and there. Each of these little sub arms will also hold one of our 6 beam sabers here. So we've got 6 of these, and again the clear yellow parts look really nice on those. So here we go, all in place. Here's how that's gonna look. I gotta say, pretty impressive. And like I said, this is a mobile suit that I was not familiar with and just didn't really have too much expectation for. I don't know, but it's one that I think is definitely probably one of my favorites of this set for sure. That looks really, really cool. It's cool to have all 6 beam sabers. Kind of a shame to not have the rifle though, so I think I might opt for just 5 instead of 6. Might be enough, and we'll keep the beam rifle in hand over here on this side. and still pretty cool looking, I gotta say. So that's really, really awesome, and nice homage. Well, I mean, it's being that it's developed off of the O, it's kind of a cool just trait to have carried over from the O, having the multiple beam sabers, but now taking it up a whole notch. That's very awesome. So then for the Rozen Zulu, first off, if you just wanted to make the episode 7 version, we're going to pop off this arm here at the elbow, and then we have a new connection piece that we're gonna put onto here. And then for the shield, we're gonna remove that from this side and take off this center part of the shield and attach that onto our new arm part. And there we go. Now we've got the episode 7 version just like that, pretty straightforward. But we want to make the wire guided arms. So basically we have this claw part and you have these parts which are going to fit onto here like that. And from the figure, we're going to remove this part out of here. And with those parts attached, yeah, a little bit different from the GP02 where you don't really need the support arms. This one you are definitely probably going to want to use these 2 included stands here. These are just going to fit up underneath like that and support the arms when they're out, because otherwise, yeah, these arms are going to weigh down like that, and pretty cool looking, but yeah, you're gonna want to use the support arms for this, I think. So that's gonna be about it here for Gundam Converge Series Plus 04. What did you guys think? I really like these Plus series just for the larger mobile suits like this, mobile suits that come with a lot of option parts. Like I said before, I'm not super into having like parts that make it look necessarily like it's in like an action scene or dynamic. As much as I love the Rozen Zulu, those arm parts are probably parts that I'm not gonna really end up using with mine. The rest of them though, I think are pretty cool the way that they're displayed with everything on there. The beam sabers on the Tytania are really cool, very impressive looking. And then the parts for the Exia and the GP02 are also really cool as well. They add a lot to those figures. So definitely some really cool options here in this set. Let me know in the comment section which one is your favorite among the 4 mobile suits featured in here. And also, what do you think would be some good options for some future Converge Plus sets? This is set 4, so we have seen, I guess that means 16 mobile suits out in like the Plus line so far. As for what you might like to see in a future upcoming set, let me know in the comment section. I don't know, something like the Hama Hama would be kind of cool, but maybe I've just got that on the mind because of the inclusion of the Rozen Zulu here in this one. I don't know, something of the little bit larger mobile suit variety like that. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And if you guys want to check out some Converge figures of your own, you can check the link to USA Gundam Store down in the video description down below. Don't always have a ton of Converge stuff, but whatever we are able to get is there in stock on the website. And yeah, just as a last note on these figures, I think overall the quality of them is really good. There has been times in the past when like the quality is a little bit better or a little bit worse, and this one seems to be the quality is quite good. The only thing that I'm a little bit disappointed in, like I said, is that I wish that there would have been a bit more detail painting on the Rozen Zulu, but that's something that I guess I can step in and do if I really feel that inclined to do it, and maybe someday I will, but not going to be today. Anyway, as always guys, thank you so much for all of your support, leaving a like, making sure that you're subscribed. I really appreciate it. Until next time, hope you all enjoyed taking a look at this Converge set today, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Later guys.